Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. As of this recording, 72 Seasons is a week away from release to the general public, and people are pumped, people are excited. I assume people are going to spend the majority of next week and the days following the release of 72 Seasons talking about 72 Seasons and also reflecting on the best moments of Metallica's massive, iconic, and influential discography, and more power to those people. But I've decided I'm going to do something a little different. Today, I'm going to talk about Metallica's worst songs, their worst moments from their worst albums. Not because I hate them, contrary to what a lot of you are probably thinking and angrily typing right now, rather because I do love and adore them. Master of Puppets was one of the first albums I bought with my own money. Metallica are an incredibly influential band, and I love a lot of what they've done. I'm a big fan, but being a big fan doesn't mean kissing ass and riding dick every time Metallica dares to do something. It means being honest about how you feel. And as much as I love a lot of stuff Metallica has done, there's a lot of stuff I don't love. They don't have a perfect discography, to be blunt. Or maybe they do. Maybe you're one of those Metallica fans that does kiss ass and ride dick. More power to you. Anyways, top 10 worst Metallica songs. Oh boy, here we go. Let's do this. As per the norm, not really a ranked or numbered list. I don't think I even have a number one, least favorite song. We're just going to talk about each song in order of release, and by the end of it, we will have 10 of Metallica's worst songs. First up, we have Ain't My Bitch. This is the opening number from Load, released in June of 1996. This album is controversial for a number of reasons. It saw Metallica stripping back the thrash metal flavors of earlier records in favor for a more commercial, straightforward kind of hard rock sound with influences from alternative rock of the time as well as country and the blues and southern rock. Overall, I think Load is pretty okay. I don't really love it, but I don't really hate it either. It's got some bops. It's got some bangers. I weirdly kind of like the country ballad Mama Said, which is probably one of Metallica's most divisive songs. What I don't love is Ain't My Bitch. I think this is a stupid fucking number. I think this is an obnoxious fucking number, and just a terrible way to open this record. This is Metallica doing late 90s, early 2000s, ultra edgy American butt rock before it was really a thing. This would not be out of place on a Godsmack record, or a Stained record, or a Buckcherry record, or something like that. I'm also reminded of Motley Crue's self-titled album, the one they did with John Corabi, the one nobody fucking talks about anymore for very good reason. The gritty guitar tone, the bluesy licks and solos, and the pounding drums give this a weirdly kind of stadium country rock kind of vibe. It feels like Kid Rock could pop up at any moment and start rapping about the fucking snowflakes and growing up in Detroit or some shit like that. And I wouldn't question it. It's got that same vibe and energy. James Hetfield's vocal delivery doesn't help either. He is, comically over the top here. It sounds like somebody doing a really weird, exaggerated impersonation of James Hetfield. Even when I was a kid and edgy butt rock was all the fucking rage, I fucking thought this song was stupid as shit. I know I just said that I don't have a number one, least favorite Metallica song, but honestly, it might be this. I think this is just a stupid, stupid fucking song, and I hope I never hear it again. Next up, we have Where the Wild Things Are, taken from Reload, released in November 1997. The companion piece to the aforementioned Load, released the year prior. Reload in general, not a great album. It feels like the unwanted microwaved leftovers of the aforementioned Load, but Where the Wild Things Are is the worst of the bunch because it is just a full-blown snooze fest. Metallica were clearly paying attention to Alice in Chains at the time. There are other songs on this record like Slither and Devil's Dance where the influence and full-blown worship is almost impossible to deny. This song kind of feels like if they listened to Alice in Chains and then they said, what if we made it as boring as fucking possible? It is an aimless song, meandering on psychedelic alt-metal textures and sludgy rhythms, never really going anywhere, never really evolving into anything. There are some very lethargic and unenthusiastic vocal performances. Aside from a pretty atypical Kirk Hammett-style wah-infused guitar solo, there's just really nothing else happening in this song. It's Metallica sleepwalking through a really, really bad Alice in Chains knockoff. Ain't nothing wild about where the wild things are, to put it simply. This thing is about as wild as a fucking Wild Wings restaurant. Next up, we have Whiskey in the Jar, taken from the cover/compilation album Damage Inc., released in November of 1998. Traditionally an Irish folk song, it has also been recorded by the Dubliners, Thin Lizzy, and apparently also Metallica. Can you guess whose version is the worst? Take a guess. Take a wild guess. This is actually a pretty popular song for the most part. Like, people seem to like Metallica's rendition of Whiskey in the Jar, and I've never understood why. That main riff is just so ugly, and the music overall doesn't really have a lot of momentum and urgency to it. It just kind of plods along on the same monotonous and repetitive beat over and over and over again. The way James screams, "Whiskey in the Jarro," I always thought was so fucking silly. It's another one of those moments where I'm like, this doesn't sound like James Hetfield. This sounds like someone doing a really over-the-top impersonation of James Hetfield. I don't know, man. It ain't for me. There better be whiskey in that jar, because that's the only way you're gonna get me to listen to this thing. Alright, now we're entering the Saint Anger era of Metallica, and honestly, I'd love to just put the whole Saint Anger album on this list and call it a day, because I fucking hate that album. But I've chosen two specific songs from the Saint Anger album, those songs being Frantic and Invisible Kid. Let's start with Frantic because it's the album's opening number, and it was also released as a standalone single in September of 2003. This has to be one of the most obnoxious choruses I've ever heard in a Metallica song. I cannot fucking stand it. James just screaming, "Frantic, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock!" and like getting more and more intense as it goes along. Ugh. Kill me. Cringe. Ew. It is a mind-numbingly simplistic and repetitive cut, basically using the same bare-bones knuckle-dragging riffs and beats over and over and over again. And need I even mention the trashy raw production? Need I? Need I? I don't think I need. I don't think so. Again, I could easily just put every song from Saint Anger on this list and call it a day, but I'm also going to single out Invisible Kid specifically because it is unnecessarily long, aimless, and stupid. It's also, like, weirdly clumsy to the point where I can't help but question if this thing was just kind of shat out last minute by Metallica. Like, the way that James just kind of rambles on and the way that guitars and bass and drums clash, it really just sounds like a group of kids just kind of jamming and hoping that it turns into something. And Jesus Christ, did it really need to be 8 minutes and 30 seconds long? Like, my fucking god. The entire Saint Anger album is crap in my opinion, but Frantic and Invisible Kid, they're the king and queen of Shit Mountain. Next up, we have Suicide and Redemption, taken from Death Magnetic, released in September of 2008. My thoughts on Death Magnetic are pretty well documented at this point. You can quote me as saying it's an extremely overrated record, and I do not understand why it was such a big hit back in the day. The song Suicide and Redemption specifically is a huge waste of fucking time. I will concede that there are a few bops on this record, despite Rick Rubin's best efforts to make it everything sound like overcompressed garbage. Songs like All Nightmare Long, Cyanide, and That Was Just Your Life, and The Judas Kiss actually occasionally go kind of hard. But Suicide and Redemption? Nah. This is another aimless, repetitive snooze fest for me. It's an instrumental cut that relies on a lot of the same riffs over and over and over again. It never evolves or progresses into anything all that interesting, and frankly, it takes a while to get beyond that main riff. Yet another moment where I can't help but get the vibe that Metallica just kind of shat this out at the last minute. Just a total bore, and that super overcompressed production courtesy of Rick Rubin does not help whatsoever either. Next up, we have two songs from Lulu, Metallica's controversial collaborative record with Lou Reed, released in October 2011. Those songs being The View and Iced Honey. Overall, I honestly think Lulu gets way too much hate. It is obviously not a perfect record, hence why The View and Iced Honey are on this list. But there are some strong moments like Junior Dad, Pumping Blood, Dragon. I think it has probably some of Metallica's most ambitious songwriting, maybe since And Justice for All. I like the very intimate, angular production. I like a lot of Lou's very unorthodox and abstract lyricism. Overall, I would say Lulu is not terrible. But these two songs are. Iced Honey just sounds like an old Velvet Underground B-side with an unnecessary metal coat of paint. Like, it's awkward, it's ugly, it's clumsy, and it's honestly just boring. Typically across Lulu, Lou Reed is just kind of doing some spoken word poetry and rambling. Because he is required to do an actual melody on this cut, it really exposes just how bad his voice has degraded. Somehow though, James ends up sounding worse as he just like roars and screams over top everything Lou does. It almost sounds like he's yelling at his dad to take his meds or something like that. Or he's yelling at like his old racist uncle to shut up and pass the mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving dinner. Like, it's giving abusive, loud dad vibes. Worse, though, is The View. I mean, I remember when this came out as a standalone single in September of 2011, and I remember just, like, laughing my fucking ass off at this thing. This is a rare moment where a song is so bad that it truly is fucking hysterical. It's slow-paced, it's awkward, it's weird. James Hetfield screaming, "I am the table, I am the tablet, I am the oppressor," and then the song kind of getting a little thrashier near the end, and then him just like rambling and shouting, and then kind of doing like a semi-quasi-guttural vocal spiel. So fucking funny. Genuinely hilarious to me. It's easy to see why this thing was such a big fucking meme back in the day. I honestly kind of wish there were more I Am the Table memes, because it's just so fucking stupid and so fucking good. Look, I got no issue defending Lulu. I've done it before, I'll do it again, but I can't defend these two fucking songs. They really are fucking terrible. Next up, we have Murder 1, taken from Hardwired to Self-Destruct, released in November of 2016. I would say that of everything released since the Black Album, Hardwired is probably Metallica's best record. I would probably give it like a solid 3.5 out of 5. I think it actually has a few legit gnarly ragers on it. Murder 1 is not one of them. I think it's great that this was penned as a tribute to Lemmy Kilmister, who would have passed away around that time, but could they not have penned a better tribute? Could they not have picked a better song on the record and just made that the Lemmy tribute song? Because this thing's boring and slow as fuck. I don't know how the hell you pen a tribute to someone so charismatic and so unique and so full of rock and roll attitude and make it sound like somebody literally dying of boredom, but you did it, Metallica. You did it. Congratulations, I guess! It's just a sluggish, one-dimensional dad rock bruiser. The fact that it is followed up by Spit Out the Bone, probably the best song on Hardwired, just makes this sting all the more. Like, why wasn't that the Lemmy tribute? Why wasn't Halo on Fire, or Hardwired, or literally anything else the Lemmy tribute? Why? Why? Come on, guys. Come on. And finally, we have Blackened 2020, a standalone single released in May of 2020. It is an acoustic rendition of Blackened, originally from And Justice for All, and it's horrible. I hate it. Of all of the songs to make into, like, an acoustic jam, why would you pick Blackened? Why? Like, right off the bat, this is just a bad idea. Why not pick Nothing Else Matters? Why not pick Fade to Black? What the hell is wrong with you? In theory, a bad idea. In execution, still a bad idea. Like, this was just a bad idea from the get-go. I get that these guys were probably bored, sitting around at home. This was the beginning of the COVID-19 quarantine, and, you know, you can't go out and tour, you can't, like, properly record something, you want to kill the time. I get it. I understand that. Why an acoustic rendition of Blackened? Why? Why would you take one of your best songs and turn it into, like, the most, like, MTV unplugged acoustic rock drivel ever? Why? I hate the mellow vocals, I hate the acoustic guitar arrangements, I hate the very simplistic, minimal production. It's just bad. It's just awful. If Ain't My Bitch is my number one least favorite Metallica song, this is maybe number 2. If that gets the gold medal, then this gets the silver. I do not fucking like this song one single goddamn bit. And voila, my top 10 worst Metallica songs, top 10 least favorite. Oh my goodness. Now it's your turn to tell me, what do you think are some of Metallica's worst songs? Do you think Metallica have any bad songs for that matter? Are you one of those fans that just kisses ass and rides dick? Let me know in the comment section below. Press this button to subscribe. Ooh, shiny. Look, there's more videos here. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.